Hey guys, Bob from Better Music here today to talk to you about the Mesa Boogie Dual Rectifier. It is the most popular high gain amp in the Mesa Boogie range. It's been around for a little while. This is the third version of the amp. The current version's been around for a couple of years now. It's a 3-channel multi-watt amplifier. You've got your traditional clean sound and you've got 2 high gain sounds. The amp's running 6L6 valves, which are the most common output valves that Mesa use. They're great for the low end and the low mids, so they really suit sort of high gain, hard rock and metal. So they also have a silicon diode mode or a vacuum tube mode. So silicon diode mode is a more direct, more focused sound, whereas the vacuum tube mode, which is using 5U4G valves, gives you a spongier and more dynamic attack. So you'll get a lot of difference in your picking style and picking attack, the harder or softer you play. So the amp is a 3-channel amp. I'm going to go through today and just give you an idea of, I guess, basic sounds and how to get the most out of it. I'm going to run it all in 100 watts, so it has a 50 or 100 watt setting for each channel. I'm going to run it in 100 watts and just show you some little tricks with EQ and whatnot. When demonstrating the Mesa Boogie amplifiers to customers, I generally use the same rule of no dial on 10, no dial on 0. The EQ and the gain structure works the best between 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock. So you'll notice that on the amplifier itself, the settings that I'm using are quite mild. There's no crazy scooping or heaps of low end or heaps of gain, anything like that. It's a pretty passive sort of setup, nothing too crazy here. So the clean sound I've used, I set my presence at 12. I just like the 12 o'clock as a setting for the presence. It adds just the right amount of, I guess, sparkle in that high end. However, the bass is on about 1 o'clock, mids on 11, treble on about 1, and the gain on about 10 to 11 o'clock, depending on the guitar that I'm using at the time. Second channel, I've set pretty much everything at 1 o'clock except for the presence, again sitting at 12. I've also flicked it into modern, so you've got raw, vintage or modern for each of the 2 high gain channels. The modern setting is a brighter, it's a tighter, slightly more focused sound. Great for the hard rock stuff and metal. The difference between the 2 channels, you've got on the 3rd channel, you've got a slightly different value in the presence pot, so it's a brighter sound, a slightly brighter and more focused sound. So I'll go through the sounds now, and I'll explain a little bit about the solo loop as well. So the traditional clean sound you heard me playing at the start was just a... So plenty of bottom end there, plenty of clarity. You can hear everything that's going on, which is ultimately what you want with a clean sound. Volume-wise, I could push that a little bit harder to get that headroom, but ultimately that's a pretty good starting point. You could, if you like, add in a delay or a chorus or a reverb or something into the loop of the amplifier and switch it in and out with the loop button on the foot switch. Now the second channel, as I said, this is the darker of the 2 high gain channels. It's a slightly thicker sound. You'll notice that I've set the EQ and gain structure exactly the same on these 2 channels to show you the difference between them. So if I play something on the 2nd channel and I'll flick to the 3rd channel, you can hear the difference for yourself. So that 3rd gain channel has a little bit more cut, a little bit more focus. So if you're running 2 guitars, 2 different guitars in different tunings and whatnot, you can EQ them so they sound very similar. So you don't have to go too crazy, on stage mucking around with your sound. Sound guys love that. So the other feature that I said I'd talk about is the solo boost. So in the amp itself, you've got an overall output level, and then you've got a solo on top. So what it does is it boosts the sound of the channel you're in without adding any gain or any color to your sound. It's just a volume boost. Great for solos and whatnot. So just to give you an idea. So you can hear the difference between that volume. Now I haven't set it too crazy again. You can set it as high or as low as you want. The other added bonus of the foot switch is you can hit both the loop and solo at the same time. So if you've got a delay in your loop, you can get a little bit of slapback as well as a boost, which is a very handy thing as a lead guitarist. So that's it. That's the Mesa Boogie Dual Rectifier in a nutshell. If you have any questions or any comments, feel free to subscribe to the Better Music YouTube channel and leave your comments or questions in the page below. We know our stuff when it comes to Mesa. So thanks for tuning in, and rock on. Rock on.
All right, let's have a listen to the 68.